I just did a rewatch of the 1966 movie Fantastic Voyage. This time through, I noticed some similarities to a TV series of the time. Can you guess which one? And there were some internal scientific inconsistencies within the movie that I want to call out. Stay with me and I'll give you the lowdown on some of the things that I noticed in Fantastic Voyage. Hi, I'm Chris, your host here at Sci-Fi Eyes, where I highlight and comment on tropes and references in science fiction and fantasy. I'm doing some research for a future episode I want to make about miniaturization. Well, Fantastic Voyage, originally a novel by Isaac Asimov, is an obvious reference. So here we take a bunch of doctors, put them in a submarine, miniaturize the submarine, and then inject the submarine into this guy who's got a blood clot in his brain so that the doctors can travel to the site of the blood clot and destroy it with a laser. Pretty cool, huh? Well, it would be if everything went as smoothly as that. Lots of things go wrong along the way, and that's what makes up most of the movie. The time tunnel connection. In the movie, the miniaturization process is relatively new and is still undergoing active research. Of course, this is all a top-secret military research project. The production elements around this secret military research complex remind me a lot of The Time Tunnel, which was an Irwin Allen television production also made in 1966. Seems like a bit of a coincidence, don't you think? Check out these similarities. In Fantastic Voyage, we drive to a secret location in New York City where there's this amazing elevator that takes your car down into a secret research complex. In the Time Tunnel, we drive to a secret location in the desert somewhere, and there's this sliding door that lets you drive into the secret research complex. In Fantastic Voyage, once inside, we discover this huge underground complex. How do you hide that in New York City? The project has a cutesy logo and initials. CMDF stands for Combined Miniature Deterrent Force. There's talk of hiding battalions in a matchbox. It's not clear why there's a caduceus, typically a symbol of medical practice, in this military logo. In the Time Tunnel, we similarly discover a huge underground complex that has a cutesy logo and name, Project TikTok. The two of these look so similar that I took a look at the IMDb pages for Fantastic Voyage and the Time Tunnel to see if they shared an artistic director, production designer, something like that, but I couldn't spot anything. If anyone out there is aware of a real connection between these, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. The nuclear fuel. So here's what seems to me to be an internal inconsistency. Before the submarine gets miniaturized, we get to see them fill up the gas tank. It's with a seemingly empty box, which is supposed to contain a tiny radioactive particle that serves as nuclear fuel. When the sub is miniaturized, the tank will be full. The claim is made that the nuclear fuel can't be miniaturized, so you just need a tiny bit, which will be the right size once the sub is miniaturized. It may be radioactive, but isn't the fuel made up of the same old protons, neutrons, and electrons as all other matter that's being miniaturized? And it may have unstable nuclei, but it is just regular matter, so this didn't make a lot of sense to me. Diving without fins. The crew have to leave the submarine several times for repairs and such, and these excursions turn into scuba adventures. I have to assume their diving equipment is way more advanced than it looks because they have full two-way radio communication and they don't give off any bubbles when they exhale. As a former scuba diving instructor, I can tell you those features do not come with the equipment these folks are using. But okay, I can assume the equipment is more advanced than it appears and let that slide. More egregious, though, and less forgivable, is the fact that you can't move like that underwater without fins. Yet here they are, swimming away. Maybe I'm just touchy about this one because I know a lot about scuba diving. How do you breathe big air? One of the mishaps along the way causes the sub to lose most of its air supply. Fortunately, the sub has a snorkel which can be used to refill the air tanks from under the surface. The crew hatch a plan to go out and use the snorkel to get some air from the patient's lungs. My question here is, how do they breathe this air? Biology generally depends on the fit between molecules in order to function. Oxygen molecules get picked up by hemoglobin and red blood cells because their size fits into some molecular jig. But the oxygen they just picked up has molecules that are 1,000 times larger than the ones the crew's hemoglobin is sized for because they've been shrunk. So how can they possibly use this air? What's up with the Morse code? Once the crew are in the submarine, we see them communicating back and forth with the outside using Morse code. Here they are sending messages back and forth. I saw this and thought, gee, with all this technology, don't they have something like walkie-talkies or some other form of two-way radio voice communication? I guess not. So there's an accident, and the sub gets shaken up by some turbulence, and the special clot-burning laser is damaged in the shakeup. The crew figure out that they can repair the laser by cannibalizing the radio, but they don't like this idea because they're going to lose the radio, and hence lose communication with the outside. Wait, what? Remember when we crew had to go outside the sub to get some more air just a little while ago? Well, while they were doing that, they were chatting away on their two-way radios in their diving masks to communicate with each other and the sub. Why weren't they using this radio instead of the Morse Code routine? And why can't they continue using this with the outside after they cannibalize the sub's radio? The restoration of size. The miniaturization process is not permanent, and eventually everything reverts to its normal size. The crew have 60 minutes before they return to their original size. We keep getting ominous shots of this countdown timer every time something goes wrong, because, yikes, they're running out of time, right? So while they're using the laser to destroy the blood clot, the submarine gets attacked by a white corpuscle. The crew are forced to abandon the sub. Since they're in the brain, they figure their best bet is to head for the eyes and try to get out there. The surviving crew manage to get there and are seen swimming around on the surface of the eye, from where they are recovered using a glass slide. That was quick thinking and pretty cool. My question is, what about the debris from the sub? Sure, the white blood cell may have tried to eat it, but as the debris returns to normal size, where does that go? Final thoughts. Despite these inconsistencies, Fantastic Voyage is a fun watch. And you get to see bad guy Donald Pleasance get eaten by a white blood cell. Yeah, what can beat that? That's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed my musings on Fantastic Voyage and that you'll give it a try. I'll see you next time.